Alright, I just watched episode 7 of White Lotus season 3, and I'm just gonna jump straight into it because there is a lot to say about it. Okay, actually, I lied. Before I get into it, I am going to insert a clip of some of the things that I was predicting for the episode, some of the things that I thought were or were not gonna happen. So here's that first. Okay, so first of all, I've seen a lot of people say that they think that Lochan didn't actually black out and he does remember what happened. I don't think this is true at all. I've heard a lot of people say that they saw him spit the pill, therefore like he was like tricking Saxon into taking it. I don't think that's true also. I think that he definitely took it, and I don't really think that makes sense for his character to suddenly be so like conniving and like tricked his brother into taking it and then was like more sober than him during that. If he did that like purposely and then was pretending like he didn't what the hell and was pretending like he didn't remember it, I don't think that's his character. I don't think that that is what happened at all. I think that he genuinely blacked out, genuinely doesn't remember it, and then was recalling it in the monastery with Piper. Next thing that I've heard a lot of people saying is that Victoria actually like knows everything already, and like she knows what Timothy has done, like the crimes he's committed, and she has like money saved away for their family to like make a getaway to like another country. I don't think that's true at all either. I don't think that she knows what's going on. I've heard a lot of people say like her like rose tinted glasses are like an analogy, which like I can see the symbolism in those for sure, but I think that's more of like being kind of blind to the like flaws of her family in general. I don't think that she has some like master plan and like knows what Timothy is doing. I don't see that either. I forgot to say one thing. People have also been saying that they're like afraid for what's gonna happen, like insinuating that Piper and Lachlan are gonna do something together when he is staying with her in the monastery. Absolutely not. I do not see this happening whatsoever, and I'm honestly confused why people think that's gonna happen. I feel like with Saxon and Lachlan, they built up to it in a way that made sense. That no, it would not make any sense if something happened between Piper and Lachlan. And like what I said before, because I don't think that Lachlan was like planning that, people were saying like, oh, Lachlan's like the freaky one, like Lachlan's freakier than Saxon, like it was him all along, that's like the weirdo. I don't agree with that. Therefore, it would make no sense for something to happen between Lachlan and Piper. Okay, we're back. So, those were my thoughts about the episode. I mean, in a sense, I was right, but those things weren't really addressed. So I wasn't really right or wrong, and so not very much was revealed. I think they're saving all of the big reveals for the final episode. But we did confirm that Valentine and his two friends were the robbers from episode 1, I believe, 1 or 2. They were the ones that were robbing the store in the hotel because Gaitok recognized them at the fight. And we also confirmed that they are, in fact, trying to rob Laurie, Jackie, and Kate. Or maybe not rob them, but scam them at least. They are using them in a capacity for their money. So that was confirmed. The situation with Mr. Ratliff seems to just be escalating further. The scene with Saxon at Greg's party when they were talking about how Saxon's like entire work reputation is connected to Timothy's, and like you could just see him like spiraling further. So that, well, I'll get into what I think about that in my predictions, but that happened. Okay, we kind of got a little bit of insight into the situation between Chloe and Greg. Greg hasn't really been much of a big character, but I also think they're kind of saving him for the last episode. And we heard kind of why Greg wants Saxon and Lachlan, why he wanted them to come to the party, but we heard about their conversation from Chloe. We didn't see the conversation, and I think that's significant, but I will also talk about that in the prediction section. I heard a lot of people online saying that when Saxon came back to Chelsea's room with her, that Chelsea had like a spiritual connection with Saxon, and she realized that with Saxon she could have what she never had with Rick. Okay, I don't see that at all. What I think happened during that scene, episode 7, was that Chelsea wanted to genuinely introduce Saxon to some spirituality and just, I don't know, I mean, they're friends. I don't think what they were doing was weird. And the second that Saxon made it weird by putting his hands on her hands, she was like, nope, time to go, and threw the books at him and made him leave. I don't think it was anything more than that. I think that she's been loyal to Rick the entire season. Like, that has been like her like core character trait. They literally edited the scene with her with Chloe, Saxon, and Lochan to make you think that Chelsea was there, and then they like zoomed out or whatever, showed that she wasn't there. So her like thing the whole season has been that she is being given opportunities to be unfaithful to Rick, and she's not. So I don't think that it would make sense that all of a sudden in the second to last episode she realizes she has feelings for Saxon, who she's disliked the entire season. And I could be wrong. Maybe that is where they're gonna go with that, but personally I actually like Chelsea and Rick together. So shoot, that's one of my predictions. Okay, cut it off there. All right, I don't think that Chelsea had anything going on with Saxon in that scene. Belinda going over to Greg's party with her son. Belinda told Greg that she needs to think about his offer. Okay, did you see the look in Greg's face when she said that and was leaving? That is not like a I'll think about it situation. When you are being given an ultimatum like that, this guy had his wife murdered. That's not like oh, I'll think about it and get back to you. No, that is, you say yes or you're going to die. So I'll get into what I think about that next. Okay, these are my last thoughts for the episode. I don't think that Mook is a double agent. I also saw a lot of people saying that it was suspicious how she interrupted like gaitok at the fight right when he noticed that they were the robbers. I just don't really see that. I don't feel like there's a lot of evidence for that. And personally, I really like her and gaitok together, so I just don't think that she's a double agent, just personally, because I don't want her to be. And then finally, the like climax of Rick meeting the guy who killed his father finally, and then not being able to do anything to him like violent, like he just kind of like went like that at him and like pushed him down. Like, that was just so perfect, and like that was just hilarious. I mean, like, it was so on par for his character. I thought that scene was really funny. Okay, now on to my predictions for the finale. This is a big one. All right, finale predictions, here we go. Poison fruit, Chekov's gun. Okay, the poison fruit, I think they call it the suicide fruit, is introduced in episode 1. Okay, that's like one of the first things that happens in the show. The Ratliffs check into their room, and that's like the first thing that Pam tells them. He picks up the fruit and he's like, oh, can I make a smoothie out of this or whatever? And she's like, oh no, that will kill you. So again, it's like, it wouldn't be there if it's not going to be used. So they wouldn't have set up that fruit and been like, oh, hey, that's a poisonous fruit, if like it wasn't going to be used to try to kill someone. You know what I mean? I don't think they would have put that in the show if it wasn't at some point going to be used. So that poison fruit is going to be used. I don't think there's any way that poison fruit's not going to be used. My next point, Belinda will live. I think that Belinda is going to live. I know that in the first episode they started it with I think his name's Zion, and if it's not, it's going to be really embarrassing. But they started with Zion running around the hotel looking for his mom, and then they like, you see his face go like when he sees like the body like start to float into the frame. I think that is the biggest red herring ever, because any human being would react that way to seeing a body floating through the water at like a resort. There's a shooting at a resort and there's a body floating towards you. You don't react any other way than shocked. I don't think that it necessarily has to mean, oh, that's his mom. And I mean, that's kind of the obvious conclusion, but since that is obvious, like, I think they just want you to think that. I really don't think that Belinda is gonna die. And I think that's a really obvious red herring. I think that could be anyone. I also think that Belinda is kind of too smart to die. Like, I think that she would see it coming, and I think I'm going to talk about that a little more in a second. My third prediction is that Chelsea and Rick are going to get their happy ending. In White Lotus, there are usually groups or couples like they're pretty like black and white, split into like good ending, bad ending. Like, oh, this, like, you know, they in season 1, it's like the good ending is like, you know, Quinn got to go do his canoeing or whatever, and then like the bad ending is like, oh, Rachel got back with her horrible husband. Like, it's like pretty, it's like they kind of split it up into a good ending, bad ending. And I think that Chelsea and Rick are going to get good ending, and I think they're going to be happy together. I don't think either of them are going to die. Okay, yeah, I kind of already said this one, but I think that Belinda and Zion will both be okay. I think that they want you to think that they're not going to be okay, but I think they will be okay. I think that I don't think that she's going to end up taking the money, but I do think that she's going to outsmart Greg in some way, and they're going to be able to escape. This isn't really like a prediction, but I just wrote that I think that the Ratliffs and then Jaclyn, Laurie, and Kate are in the most danger out of everyone in the show, just because of who like they're involved with. Greg, who has previously murdered someone, is, to me, very obviously upset with at least Saxon, and I think that him inviting them to the party is one of the more like suspicious things going on right now, especially because we didn't hear the conversation between Greg and Chloe. Okay, now hear me out here. Chloe told us this supposed conversation that she had with Greg, right, about his childhood and mom and dad and his like weird fantasy. So I don't think that conversation happened, or like happened the way she said it did. If that conversation happened, I think for the sake of the show, it would have been better to show that conversation. I feel like that conversation was specifically cut out so that the viewer doesn't know. We only have Chloe's like retelling of it, and we don't know for sure whether it happened or not. And because of that, I don't think that it happened. I think that if it that did happen, it would have been like more dramatic to hear it coming out of Greg's mouth. I don't think it has the same impact coming out of Chloe's mouth, which makes me think that it is a lie. And I think that either Chloe and Greg, are like scheming together somehow, which could be connected to some of the other shady stuff going on, or could be separate, or that Greg is kind of threatening Chloe, and Chloe has to tell them that to trick them into whatever is going to go on in the finale. It's very weird that we didn't get to see that conversation. That's like one of the only conversations that's referenced that we didn't get to see. So it just, I don't know, it stands out to me for sure. And then Jaclyn, Laurie, and Kate, I think, are also in danger because of Valentine and his 2 friends, who are obviously planning to rob or scam them. And I'm kind of torn right now on whether or not Laurie is going to go back to Jaclyn and Kate and tell them. You know, she doesn't know that they were the robbers, so she might think that it's kind of harmless. Because of the like kind of grudge she's holding against Jaclyn right now, she honestly might not even tell her that. She might want to like use that to trick Jaclyn, or not let Jaclyn in on the fact that they were using them all along. I'm not sure where they're gonna go with that, but I definitely think that's they're in danger for sure. Also because of the like trouble comes in 3 like motif that has been happening in the show, like what Chelsea was saying in the beginning, and then there's the 3 girls and then the 3 Ratliff children. I don't know, there's something going on there. Next prediction is that Gaitok is going to have his own personal moment to shine. They've also been building him up, the like, do you have the instinct to kill, and then like training him with the gun, giving him the gun, he loses the gun. His conversation with Mook about like how he doesn't want to be violent, and like, oh, if the time came, like, would you be able to step up? Obviously that's leading up to something. Obviously he is going to have a moment where he either needs to step up or something bad is going to happen. Either I'm thinking to protect like Mook or to protect the hotel guests, some moment where he needs to act. Next prediction, this one's kind of out of nowhere, but I think that Fabian might be evil. So far in the first 2 seasons, we haven't had an evil hotel manager yet, or not even evil, but like one that is like conspiring with the like evil that's going on. I honestly don't think it's too far off that he could be somewhat either involved or kind of just letting it slide in terms of the robbery, like with Valentine and his friends. Like, I honestly think it's possible he might know of that and be somewhat complicit. or he might be straight up evil. I think he's been kind of a boring character so far, and I think that's intentional. Okay, the other two hotel managers have been really interesting. What was her name? Valentina. I think Valentina and Armand were both very interesting main characters. So I think the fact that they've sidelined Fabian so much could be them trying to have a super big like plot twist in the last episode where they reveal that he's been kind of working with the bad guys the whole time. The last thing, I guess this isn't really a prediction either, but how do you say her name? Sritala. They like did a whole thing about her. They're like Sritala, whatever. Her and her husband. Honestly, I kind of don't think they're as dangerous as they've been making themselves out to be. Like, I don't know, this might be a dumb prediction, but like, I kind of don't think they're gonna be involved in much or like do much. I could be totally wrong. They could be like the center of it all, but just after seeing him when Rick went over, like that was not like a very like powerful or like scheming man. And like, I don't know, Sritala, is that her name? I'm really sorry. She kind of seemed a little like naive, or like kind of like easily tricked when like what Rick and his friend were doing was like that was not very believable. And she might have totally just been playing into it and like knew that it was fake the whole time. But if not, like she's like kind of naive and not that like scheming either, it seemed like. Okay, we are down to my last prediction. I hope you guys liked the video. If you did, make sure you like and subscribe and comment. Please comment. I'm so obsessed with the series right now that I would love to hear any and all theories that you guys have. If you think that my theories are the stupidest thing you've ever heard, please let me know, because they might be, and sometimes I have a very hard time understanding things that are really obvious. So comment, please, anything you want. My last theory for the finale is going to be a death prediction. Okay, I do think that multiple people are gonna die. I don't know who. My one death prediction that I'm going to give you is I think that Greg is going to die. Now, hear me out, okay? I don't think that anybody expects Greg to die because he's been the kind of antagonist, I guess. Here are my reasonings for Greg dying. It would be justice for Tanya, which I think would kind of make sense. Seems like something that Mike White would do. Yeah, nobody expects it, like I just said. He is dying already. Maybe. Unless they said that unless they like clear that up in season 2, that was fake. I just rewatched season 1, and they talk about his health condition. Apparently he's like imminently dying in season 1. If that's fake, then that's not relevant. But to my knowledge and my poor memory, that is real. So if he's already imminently dying from a health issue, you know, they might as well kill him off. And he has barely been in the season so far. He's a 3-time recurring character, and he has had almost no screen time this season. So why not, if they're not going to give him screen time, I think they at least have something big planned for him in the finale. And I think that with the amount of people that he has crossed, I could see him dying for sure. I could see him being killed by Timothy Ratliff if he were to put Saxon or Lochan in danger. I could see him being killed by Gaitok if he came down to the resort to like do something to Belinda. I don't know. I feel like there's a number of ways that he could meet his end, and I don't know. I think that it's possible. That's it for the video, guys. Those are all my predictions for episode 8. Those are my thoughts on episode 7. If I forgot anything crucial, let me know in the comments. Let me know what you think. Like, subscribe. I already said it all. Have a great day. Can't wait for episode 8. Talk to you guys later. Goodbye.